Students, in this video, I'm going to go through the answers for the Cumulative Practice Chapter 8. Number 1, what is the value of the expression when a equals 6, b equals 5, and c equals 4? Here's our expression, 8a minus 3c plus 5b. So step 1 is to replace the variables a, b, and c with the values we were given, 6, 5, and 4. So instead of 8a, I'm going to write 8 times 6, because remember 8a means 8 times a. So not 86, but 8 times 6. Minus 3c, so 3 times c, 3 times 4, plus 5b, 5 times b, so 5 times 5. And now I'm going to use GEMDAS to solve or to evaluate this. So you might think there's grouping symbols because we do have parentheses, but there's nothing to actually do inside the grouping symbols, so we're going to move past that. We're going to move past exponents. We're going to do multiplication and division left to right. So I'm going to do 8 times 6 first, which is 48. Next would be 3 times 4, which is 12, and then 5 times 5, which is 25. And now I'm ready to go ahead and do addition and subtraction again from left to right. So we're going to start with this 48 minus 12, which is 36. And then we can add 36 and 25. That's going to be 61. So the correct response would be C, 61. Number 2, point P is plotted in the coordinate plane. And we're going to select which of the coordinates matches point P. So first, let's remember that these are x, y. The x number describes the horizontal value, and the y value describes the vertical value. So let's look at the x value first, x across. Looks like we moved left 5, which is going to be negative 5. So we want one that has negative 5 for x. And now the vertical value, y, we went up 3, which is a positive 3. So we want option G, negative 5, positive 3. Left 5, up 3. X across, y to the sky. Number 3, what is the value of a that makes this equation true? So I'm going to draw a line through my equal sign. And I want to figure out what a equals, so I don't want this plus 6 there. So to undo that, I'm going to subtract 6. And whatever I do to one side, I have to also do to the other side. The plus 6 minus 6 undo each other, leaving just a. And then 18 minus 6 is 12. So we get a equals 12, and we're just going to put 12 as our answer. Since they said what is the value of a that makes the equation true, they're saying they know that this is the value of a. We don't need to put that part, just the number, 12. Number 4. Which list of values is in order from least to greatest? So I have a couple just like integers here, 2 and negative 6, but then I have these, which are inside these vertical lines. Remember, that means absolute value. And absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. So it is always positive. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. The absolute value of 4 is 4. Negative 3 is 3 away from 0. 4 is 4 away from 0. So if I think about the options I have, 2, absolute value of negative 3, absolute value of 4, absolute value of, or sorry, not absolute value, just the number, negative 6. What's the least to greatest order? Well, negative 6 would definitely be the least since it's the only one that's actually negative. Next, I would have 2. Then I would have the absolute value of negative 3 because, again, that just means positive 3. And then finally, I'd have the absolute value of 4 because that just means 4. So I want the bottom option here, D. Number 5, what is the height of the parallelogram? First, let's remember how to find area of a parallelogram. Since we're given area, we want to go to that formula. So the area of a parallelogram is base times height. Here's the base, 15 meters. I don't know the height. So instead of writing in what the base and height are, I'm going to write in what the area and the base are because those are what I know. So I know the area is 90 and I know the base is 15. So I'm saying the area of 90 should equal the base of 15 times the unknown height. We're going to solve for that unknown height now. So to undo this times 15 there, I'm going to divide by 15. I'm going to do it on both sides. 90 divided by 15 is 6. The times 15 divided by 15 undo each other, and we just get h. So h equals 6. The height would be 6 meters. And you could double check that by doing 15 times 6. Let's see, does it really give us 90? 5 times 6 is 30. Write the 0, carry the 3. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So that did work. Our height needs to be 6 meters. Number 6, which property is illustrated by the statement? So I want to see what changed from the left side to the right side. Well, 4, 6, n, they're all still added in the same order, 4 plus 6 plus n, but where the parentheses were moved, the grouping symbols were originally around the second two numbers, or the second and the third number, sorry, and now they're around the first and the second. So the grouping symbols moved, and that refers to the associative property. Now we have two that say associative property, but because this is addition here, we want to choose associative property of addition. So associative property is changing grouping. Think about who you associate with. Those are the groups you associate with. Commutative property is changing the order, but we did not change the order at all. Number 7, which number line shows the graph of x is greater than or equal to 5? So first, let's think about if this should have an open or a closed circle. So if x has to be greater than or equal to 5, is it allowed to equal 5? Yes, it is. So that means I want a closed circle on the number 5. So I can eliminate g and I. Also, if there's a line under the symbol, you use a closed circle. And then which way are the numbers that are greater than 5? Well, those would be to the right. So that's how we know it's option F. But also, since x is written first, if you change this into an arrow, it points in the direction our arrow should go, to the right. These are all the numbers that are equal to 5 or greater than it. Number 8, which number is the greatest? So I have a fraction, or two fractions. I have a decimal and I have a percent. So what I'm going to do is change them all into the same form to more easily compare. In my opinion, it's going to be, at least for me, the easiest to change them into percents. So 7/8, if I want to make this a percent, I want to make the bottom number 100. Now 8 doesn't multiply to become exactly 100, but if I multiply it by 12, I get 96, which is pretty close. So it'll at least hopefully help me estimate closely enough to decide which of these is the greatest. So I'm going to multiply the top by 12 also. 7 times 12 is 84. So this is approximately 84%. It's not exactly 84%, but it's close to it. So hopefully that's close enough for us to decide which of these is greatest. All right, next I have a decimal. To turn a decimal into a percent, we move the decimal 2 spots to the right, 1, 2. That becomes 86%. For 22 over 25, I want to turn the 25 into 100, so I multiply it by 4. And then I do the same to the top. 22 times 4 is 88. So this one is 88%. And then our last one, 85%, that is already a percent. So it looks like the greatest out of these is 88%, 2/25. Number 9, what is the area of the shaded region? So I have a rectangle and then a triangle is cut out of it. So I'm going to find the area of the rectangle and then subtract the area of the cutout piece of the triangle. So the area of the rectangle is length times width. The length and width are 7 and 8. So I'm going to do 7 times 8. That gives me 56. So that's the entire thing. But now I need to cut out the little piece. So I need to find out what's the area of the cutout piece. The area of a triangle would be base times height divided by 2. The base and height are both 4. So 4 times 4 divided by 2. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. So the entire thing is 56. The cutout piece is 8. So now I'm going to go ahead and do 56 minus 8, and I get 48. So the area of the shaded region is 48 units squared, option H. Number 10, write 23.5% as a decimal. So to change a percent into a decimal, we move the decimal 2 places to the left. We're decreasing it. So I'm going to move it 1, 2 spots to the left, so it becomes 0.235. I personally like to put a 0 in front, so 0.235. Number 11, plot the point 2, -3, and then plot 4 points that are 3 units away from 2, -3. So the graph's actually on the next page, so I'm going to have to flip the page. So part A, I'm graphing 2, -3. So remember it goes x then y. So I'm going to go right 2 because x is left and right. And then I'm going to go down 3 because y is -3. So here is where 2, -3 would be. And then I'm going to graph 4 points that are 4 units away from this. So I'm going to do one up 4 units, to the right 4 units, down 4 units, to the left 4 units. So if I go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be there at 2, 1, over 2, up 1. And then this way to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there, that's at 6, negative 3, right, 6, down 3. And then down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is at 2, negative 7, because it's over 2, down 7. And then we'll go to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is at negative 2, negative 3, because it's left 2 and down 3. So here's our 4 points that are 4 units away from our original point 2, negative 3. And then question 12, what is the perimeter of the rectangle with the vertices shown below? So we have 4 vertices. That means these are like the corners of our shape of the rectangle. So what's going to be the simplest here is to actually graph them and then find the perimeter that way. So you can make your own graph, or you could flip back and use one from a previous question. I'm going to show you how to make your own graph if you need to. So I'm just going to draw, I'm going to do it kind of below here. A y-axis and an x-axis. And I'm going to actually use this line as my x-axis. X, Y. Okay. And you can do the grid lines if you want to, but you don't have to. What I do is I just put tally marks. Looks like 7's the greatest number. So I'm going to go over to 7 on each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm just going to label 7. I'll know each one is worth 1. I'll do it all the other directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Although that one will be negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one will also be negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and graph each point. So I'm going to start with A. So negative 4, negative 1, that's left 4, and then down 1. Next, I'm going to graph B. It's negative 4, 7, that's left 4, and then up 7. Next, I have C, 1, 7, right 1, up 7. So it's actually kind of on the 7 I wrote down. And then D, 1, negative 1, right 1, down 1. So here's my rectangle. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Now I want the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside. It's adding up all the different side lengths together. So let's count each side length. So this one, there's a distance of 1 here, and then that one was 7 up. So 1 and 7 more, that's going to be 8. And the other side's the same. And then here, we went left 4 there and right 1. So 4 and 1 together, that's 5. And then that one's 5 also. And now we just add them all up, 5, 8, 5, and 8, to get the entire perimeter, the distance around the outside. So 8 plus 8 is 16, 5 plus 5 is 10, 16 plus 10 is 26. So the perimeter is 26 units. You also could have flipped back to a different graph, like on the SBA, if you want to go to a question that has a graph and use that instead of drawing your own, that's totally fine. But you will have graph paper, so you could make your own graph. All right, question 13, which net does not form a cube? So we want to think about, if I were to take these and fold them up, which ones would make a cube and what's the one that wouldn't make a cube. So if I imagine kind of rolling these around each other, those would form the 4 sides of my cube, and then this one could fold over the top and that could fold over the bottom. So that one would form a cube. Now this one, if I tried to do the same thing and fold these around the outsides, I would have 2 on the top, and then the bottom wouldn't have anything. So it seems like this is the one that's not going to work, but let's just think through the other ones just in case. So this one, I could fold those around the outside, fold that down on the top and the bottom, so that would make a cube. Sides, top, bottom. And then this one here, again, I could fold those around the sides and then top and bottom. Sides, top, and bottom. So it looks like the one I thought originally wouldn't form a cube, that is the one that will not form a cube. It would have, it would be like a box with nothing on the bottom. And then number 14, which value of y makes the equation true? So I'm going to first draw a line through my equal sign. And I want to get y by itself right now. Y is being multiplied by 3/4. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide it by 3/4. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Times 3/4 divided by 3/4 undo each other, just leaving y left over. And now I need to figure out what 12 divided by 3/4 is. I'm going to do that over here on the side. So I'm going to need to keep change flips. I'm going to keep 12 over 1 the same, change to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. When I look for cross canceling, 4 and 1 won't get any smaller, but I could divide 12 and 3 by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then when I multiply straight across, 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 1 is 1. 16 over 1 is 16. So y equals 16. That's the value that makes this equation true. You could also guess and check if you weren't sure how to solve one like this. You could replace y with each of the values until you find the one that worked. And when you're doing that, I would probably choose the whole numbers first because it's going to be easier to multiply by a whole number instead of a mixed number.